Hi, welcome back to my channel. In this book review video, we are going to be talking about The Wedding Veil by Kristy, Woodson, Harvey. Now, every video I've made over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I read the book and then I made the video, and then eventually I went back, like yesterday and one day last week, and I cross-posted everything everywhere and wrote what I didn't write, filmed what I didn't film, and so forth and so on. However, with this book, I had to write the review first. Why? Well, it's because it's a different story. Now, Kristen Woodson Harvey writes contemporary women's fiction. I've only read a few books by her so far, the Peachtree Bluff series 1, 2, and 3. I didn't read number 4 yet. And those books, even though it's been 2 or 3 years, maybe even longer than that, I remember those books and I remember the emotional impact that those books had on me. Well, this book, why I say this is different and my approach to doing this video is a bit different, is this is her first historical slash contemporary or contemporary slash historical. Well, what is that? Well, many times I read historical fiction books or women's fiction or literary fiction that takes place in multiple timelines. But this book is just a wee bit different anyway. Why? Well, because the famous name that's going to come up in this book over and over and over again is Vanderbilt. Now, I don't know if this makes me a little bit aware or just something was filed way back in the recesses of my brain, but I knew, with the name Gloria Vanderbilt, I knew that a Vanderbilt name meant something, but I didn't know what and how it could connect to this book because this is a fictional story, but yet the Vanderbilt name is prevalent in this book. So I have it as a Kindle Arc advanced reader copy, but because it was published on the 29th, which was just yesterday, I was able to get it on script and listen to it today. So because I was able to listen to it as an audiobook, it gave me a really good in-depth inside look at the Vanderbilts, even though this book was written as a work of fiction. Now, one thing I did not do is I didn't get the narrators' names, and I want to do that really quickly. We just go to Audible. I can get it on Scribd, but I find my searching on Audible is just the quickest way for me to search. So, The Wedding Veil. The reason I'm checking is because there's 4 narrators, and I did not jot their names down, which I neglected to do. The narrators are Sharon McManus, Rebecca Ross, Janet Metzger, and Megan Tussi. So you have 4 narrators. Now, the reason that I wanted to tell you about the narrators is because when you listen to an audiobook, the narration can make or break a book. I'll give you an example. I just listened to The Echoes by Jess Montgomery, and the narration fell flat. I listened to this book by Kristen Woodson Harvey, and the book came alive. All in the narration. In this case, 4 narrators. Now, here we have a gorgeous picture, because this whole time that I've been talking to you, the way that I edit, I will have the book cover up there, right? So you have this picture here that shows this gorgeous veil that this bride is wearing. That is the centerpiece of this book, okay? And what this veil is, it's a family heirloom that connects over many generations. Now, when the book starts off, it starts off, I think, in 1879. We have Edith Dresser as a little 6-year-old, and her mother tells her a story about a precious veil. Little Edith sadly becomes an orphan at some point after that. So years later, not a lot of years later, like 14, 15 years later, when she's like about 20, she gets married to George. And she's really sad that her mother won't be there to see her marry. Now, George isn't just a George. He's George Washington Vanderbilt. And all you have to do is Google it like I did, and you'll find out a lot about the Vanderbilt family. She marries George Vanderbilt and wears this precious veil that her mother told her about. But then the story fast forwards to present day. It fast forwards. And we have a new bride on the scene, and her name is Julia Baxter. Now, Julia is gorgeous and, all regaled in her beautiful dress, and she is about to have this beautiful veil placed on her head. But there was something that I read in the book, that the veil could bring good luck or a bad omen. And I'm wondering why, because, this is partly based on history and so forth and so on. Well, I think it was at Julia's wedding shower, or it might have been at the pre-wedding, somewhere right there at the wedding. And a group text goes out. Everybody's phone goes ding, 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 ding. I mean, who of us aren't part of a group text? Like, I'm part of a sister's text, and I'm part of a family group text. My husband is part of a job group text. Well, when this text goes off, everybody in the wedding party gets it. And she finds something out about her almost husband, so devastating that she calls the wedding off. So she goes on the vacation destination as a break. The location is already paid for, and now she can sort things out. So that's why I threw in, is the wedding veil does it bring good luck or a bad omen? That's something that came up in the book. There's another character in the book that is very frequent in the book, and that's Babs. That's Julia's grandmother. And in the story, she sells her home and moves into a retirement home. But when she does this, she doesn't seek her family's permission or grace or advice. She makes all these decisions herself. And when she enters into this retirement community, she meets an old flame from decades and decades ago. So I like that arc of the story. And then the story again takes a different shift, and now it's 1914. So now we've gone from 1879 to present day. We go to 1898 when Edith got married, and now the story arcs back to 1914, and Edith is a wealthy socialite by then, married in, I think, 1898, so now it's 1914. She is now dealing with the untimely death of her husband, but she needs to maintain the Biltmore estate, a 250-room estate, and now Edith has to maintain it to keep the family name and, of course, all of the things connected to that going. So I pressed pause on my audiobook and Googled Biltmore Estate. No, first I Googled Edith Vanderbilt, then I Googled Biltmore Estate. It is an 8,000-acre oasis, okay? You can't even get a bird's eye view on a room in one of the 3 special parts of this huge estate without a phone call. And Robin isn't about to make a phone call. So I'm sure that it's hundreds if not thousands a night at this glorious glorious estate. So, okay, curiosity satisfied, I press play again and I continue to read the book. Now, when Julia is away, she meets Connor, a very handsome, successful architect, and she thinks about having a fling. But this isn't a romance. This is just a story about how this veil passed through generation after generation after generation, and where Julia's connection to that veil came into the story. And I think that's about it, because I wrote in here in my written review, which is already on my blog. I said Kristy Woodson Harvey has woven the Mistress of Biltmore, a real historical icon, how do I say her name? Edith Stuyvesant Vanderbilt, into the pages of this truly engaging read. As the book closes, the author's note illustrates Harvey's remarkable research and talent when it came to bringing this book alive to readers. Quite naturally, Harvey took literary liberties to make this such an enjoyable story. There are tons of resources for anyone who wants to take a similar course of research as this talented author. And then my side note, I put also the Biltmore Estate is still around in a grand way. It's a glamorous 8,000-acre oasis. So that's the conclusion of my written review on my blog. But I just wanted to go into this book a little bit more in depth, because this author has, I guess she found the goose that laid the golden egg. She's now a New York Times best-selling author. Her works have been slated for film and television. She has received accolade after accolade. She has a podcast. She has a weekly web show. She blogs with her mom. So, I think that this book is definitely going to go in my favorites of 2022. And this author is going to stay right there in the forefront of my mind, because I want to continue to read her works. So that's it for The Wedding Veil by Kristy Woodson Harvey. I'm going to link the book in the description below, as I always do. I don't think I told you the publisher. I'll tell you that right now. Gallery Books is the publisher, so I want to thank Gallery Books for the art. So that's it for now. Bye-bye.